I'm Bill, I'm with Cali Moto TV. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. Dave Moss, the one and only, is here for a video that I hope you guys are really excited for. So we installed the OverSuspension on the Ducati Street Fighter, and you've heard of this.
I've got feedback from various sources,
but we haven't really gotten testing like we're gonna try to do right now. So the plan is this. We've got it at the normal setting that we've got. Tires look good for what they are. Tire pressures, I think, are 23 hot off the track for the rear, 30 for the front. Suspension's been dialed in the last session, so suspension is good. Tire pressure is good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 warm-up laps, and I'm gonna bring you guys along with me on the helmet cam. And we're gonna do the 2 warm-up laps, come in, we're gonna look at the tire wear, then we're gonna turn it all the way negative on the OverSuspension. Once we're all the way negative, 2 more laps around, and then we're gonna come back in all the way positive after we look at the tire wear. Go 2 more laps and see how it's working. Now, one of the clever things that I thought of is how do we see if this is actually working? Well, I installed a GoPro at 240 frames per second. We're gonna be able to see this tire move in and out of corners. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar, this is the OverSuspension, and OverSuspension says go all the way positive on this. Now, I've gone all the way positive, and I've done 1 360 out. That's where we are setting right now on this. So this is positive all the way and 1 360 to negative. So we're gonna test it. Let's get strapped up, and we'll meet you guys. I'm gonna head out. We'll meet Dave on the hot pit after the 2 warm-up laps, and we'll take a look at the tires and see how it's doing.
Let's get to work.
All right, you guys, so we've got the all clear from Dave Moss. He's gonna be heading over. So we're gonna go ahead out on our 2 warm-up sessions. The warm-up sessions are really just designed to get the tires heated up and the fluid in the suspension heated up. And then that way we can head out and do our kind of flyer laps, so to speak. So again, the idea on the video is to see how much rear chatter it's cutting down. So right now we are to plus 100%, negative 1 full turn 360 degrees. Okay? So we're gonna be able to check it out and see what it's doing for us. Our first lap will definitely just be a warm-up lap. Get the tires nice and heated up. Dave Moss recommends 2 to 3 laps as a warm-up. And warm up your tires. If you guys don't hear me talk about it, acceleration and brake. That's how we warm up our tires. The weaving does nothing for us, so. I'm very curious about this because I felt like when I was at Chuckwalla the day, the first time riding with it, I definitely felt like there was some pressure on the back wheel coming around corners. So yeah, I'm excited. So we got our number 1 lap. All right. We're wrapping up lap number 2. So we're going to go ahead and exit on this lap. Take a look at our tires. So tires tell a big part of what we're doing. Tires can tell you if your suspension's off, if your tire pressure's off. It can tell you a lot of things.
Right. So we have our sandy beach.
Okay.
Which is great on the hard compound.
Okay.
On the soft compound, we have a lot of stress on the joint.
Okay. And it wiggles.
Yeah, it wiggles. And then we have some cold tearing here.
Okay.
So the cold tear suggests that stress-wise, this is not getting an even load compared to there.
Okay.
Because the compound's soft on the joint, it's digging in
Okay.
to give more grip. But where you're off throttle out here, it's nice and smooth. If it's nice and smooth, then this is where you're starting to pick up the gas.
Okay.
And based on that, what we're seeing is stress.
Okay.
Now you started on the positive setting, now we're going to take it away.
Okay.
See, does all this stress in this soft area change? And then there's lots of impact craters in the sandy beach.
Okay.
So when you come
So we're
back,
kind of getting a shift.
I want a lot smoother here.
Okay.
And I want sandy beach with no impact craters in it. Like
Okay.
that. So when you come back, let's see what we get.
All right.
Let's go ahead and change the
So we're gonna go negative all the way. Here, do you mind? Sorry.
It's all right.
So we're gonna go negative all the way on this one, and we're gonna look at this kind of mid area right past the compound line. So the compound line is kind of your reference point of where we want to make sure we're kind of at. So, and you're negative.
Negative all the way, half a turn back, so it doesn't sit on the end.
Okay.
So let's
All
see
right.
what we get after 2 laps.
All right. So let's go ahead out for 2 laps and see what we do. And tires are warm, so we should be able to get right out there. So much knowledge in that tire. Just by what he said, you know, see what we're gonna do. So we're kind of at I guess you'd kind of say a stock setting, so to speak. Go ahead, pick up the pace a little bit.
All right. We're wrapping up our second session. This is full negative with a half turn. Let's go ahead and run on in, and let's go full positive and look and see how that does. All right, well, welcome back. We are back from our second full negative plus a quarter turn. So let's look at these tires.
So still got the sandy beach.
Okay.
The graining on the sandy beach is a lot finer, even in just a couple of laps.
Okay.
The impact craters we have are largely diminished. There's
Okay.
a couple, there's 3 right there.
Okay.
But they're not big, deep craters.
Okay.
The stress on the joint here and all that roughness is disappearing.
Yep.
Just in 2 laps, it's already 50% better.
Okay.
So.
And the line looks like it's blended better.
Yeah. So
Okay.
when you run your finger this way,
Yep.
it isn't a big cliff.
Okay.
On the joint, so the stress on the joint is now evened out to the point where the sandy beach is actually coming over and it's starting to bleed over into the soft compound.
Okay.
So another 4 laps with this setting would heal the tire completely.
Okay.
Maybe 6.
Okay.
Now if we were to go halfway on the setting, the question is, at that point, would it make the tire worse at halfway, because their recommended setting is maximum.
Maximum.
So we're finding at the lowest setting with half a turn that is dramatically better, period.
Okay.
So I'm going to take that half a turn out,
Okay.
put it on the stop, and then just bring it a hair back off the stop. So we're basically a 32nd of a turn.
Okay.
If what we did was healing,
Yes.
let's see what full soft gives us from a tire wear perspective.
Okay.
But compare that to, do you, when you're riding it, feel it's worse? Because we all have to reach a compromise.
Okay.
So let's see.
All right. So I should be feeling the tires should be sticking a little bit better on the insides.
Yeah. And the other part is, what you should be feeling is the bumps are smaller.
Okay.
When the tire is full of impact craters, the tire is most of your suspension.
Okay.
And that's not the way it should work. It should be a partnership.
Got it. All right. And off we go. Such knowledge, such knowledge. It blows me away. It just blows me away, you know, how he can simply look at a tire and see how it's reacting with your suspension. So we'll go ahead and get our 1 lap here. And it's a little hard for me to say if I'm feeling much of a difference, honestly. I have to be honest, I'm really focused on trying to really do some duplicating laps. So right there, I can feel the tires pushing out. So I'm getting a little bit of wobble, a little bit of push. right, you guys. So we're wrapping up number 3 session. So what I feel like now is I feel like the rear suspension in 2 and 7, those are kind of the faster, starting to accelerate. I'm feeling a little bit of this in the rear end, pushing on the rear end, which is on this side of the tire. So let's see what Dave thinks about that. All right, so Dave, pushing that one in 2 and the exit, towards the exit of 2 and 7. This in the rear is what I'm feeling.
That should therefore show that it hurt the tire.
Okay.
And it did. It's not cleaner, it's worse.
Yep.
You can pull
It's,
that back with your finger.
I was gonna say, it's, the line is gone, but you can see at the line, where the line is, it's much rougher.
So we know half a turn in at a minimum was helping heal the tire.
Okay.
But all the way off was absolutely no-go, not positive.
Okay.
So now, if we know that level of effectiveness,
Okay.
let's go to 2 turns in.
2 full turns.
Yep, towards positive.
Okay.
And try that, and then see in 2 laps, does it impact here?
Okay.
See what the tire says compared to what you feel on the track.
Okay. So really, we're fine-tuning this adjustment. We're gonna find what works best for this particular bike, but it kind of goes across the board. All right, so let's talk about that when we get out here real quick, you guys, and what I'm understanding. So, if I understand Dave correctly, is that going back just a half a turn on this affected the tire. So on the next lap here, we're gonna feel that acceleration out. And I say the next lap just because I want to get the one full. And let me get through some of this here. All right, so we've gotten through some traffic. All right, let's get into essentially our flyer lap. So what we want to watch here is in the exit here of 2, when I get on the acceleration. Right here, much less wiggle, much less wiggle. So activating that to more helped. Go ahead, around him. And then into the exit here. Mucho better. The exit is 7. Mucho better. A little bit of slide there. It feels really good right now. So I could definitely say, without a doubt, the adjustment of this is affecting the bike. So the effectiveness of this OverSuspension is noticeable around the board in how I feel accelerations out of corners, because what it's doing is it's keeping that rear wheel on the ground longer. All right, so I was just talking about, I can now tell the effectiveness of the adjustment. Out of 2 and out of 7 and 8, I can definitely feel the bike wasn't pushing as much. So the more adjustment we got in there, the better it felt.
So the other part is that Sandy Beach, you can barely see the blend line now.
Yes.
So we're going the right way. The question is, how far is too far?
Okay.
So the next
Well, we know all the way and one back was too far.
Right now we're in 2 full turns.
Okay.
So at this point, it's healing the tire and wearing perfectly.
Okay.
Otherwise, also obviously want to go bad. So we've got to go towards the positive side.
Okay.
So let's go another
1.5. And
that should conclude the test. If you come back and you feel the bumps are amplified,
Okay.
then obviously this is making the tire work way harder.
Because it's pushing it on the ground harder.
It's forcing it into the ground and making it squish.
Okay.
Right now we've got the perfect setting between the OverSuspension and the current settings in the shock, because our compound joint is missing.
Okay. And I like it, yeah.
So
one more and then I'll come in and...
cross start finish once, come in straight to the DMT trailer and let's have a look.
All right, sounds good. All right, so one more. And let's look and see if we've finished things up. So we'll go ahead and kind of get our little warm-up lap. So the exit out of 13, we're starting to wallow again in the rear. That felt good out of that exit. A little bit of wiggle there. So let's head back in and see Dave Moss and see what our final adjustment's gonna be. But I almost think the last 2 laps felt the best out of everything. So let's get into Dave Moss's trailer and see how it looks. All right, well, 7, 8, wallow, and then out of here, 11, wallow.
Okay, and it hurt the tire, and our joint is back.
The joint's back. So we're going too much.
So then we need to go back where we were, which was healing the tire and giving us perfect wear. So that turn off was ideal for your speed, your shock settings, your
everything,
pressure and temperature,
and
your speed plus the aggregate surface of the track.
Okay.
So if we go all the way to the soft, sorry, the hard, 1, 2, so you're 2 back from maximum.
2 back from maximum.
1, 2, did not work.
Okay.
So we need to go
3.
3, and
that felt the best out of all of the laps I did today, back to back, trying to ride the same ride. That one felt the best.
So now take a break, go out for a 6-lap stint.
Okay.
And see if we lose the joint, lose the roughness here, and the sandy beach comes straight across.
Okay.
That will be then validation over the course of 6 laps that the setting we have is in fact correct.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. We'll be back after 6 laps.
Hope you can find that.
We'll talk about that later.
Go to the start finish. The trim workers may have seen it come off.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, so we're back from our 6 laps, and the first thing I asked Dave is confirmation. It does something, right, Dave?
Yeah, it's doing something to the suspension, and it's doing something to the tire, so we can confirm that there is a net effect and that this isn't just hype and ether and
a placebo,
yeah.
witchcraft, or no, what was it called? Someone called it, I don't know, there were some people that were definitely unfamiliar with this system,
So testing protocol shows that we got something. Now, what we got before when we started was this joint was massively stepping up or stepping down into the soft part of the tire, and the sandy beach ended right at the joint. So with finding the middle setting where it is sharing the load with the tire, our sandy beach comes all the way down and in, or ocean at 50,000 feet, just those waves. So now they're creeping into the soft compound over those 6 laps. The joint of the compound is no longer stressed because the sandy beach is coming across it. So load on the soft area versus the harder compound is not stressing the tire and warping it, and therefore not stressing the joint and eating away here right at the seam. The other part is, obviously, while we're looking at the tire, the rebound portion, that is very, very rounded down, whereas this is very tall and almost got a lip on it. So at off gas, just getting the bike into the corner compared to applying the throttle and picking up the throttle to 20 to 30%, there's a clear delineation now between that freedom of movement with the shock, because all the weight's on the front, to then bringing the weight to the back and loading it up, and loading it smoothly from partial throttle to full. Notice on throttle, the wear's reversed. Remember, the leading edge here is all chamfered, but when we come up here to on gas, remember, sustained load is making the tire buckle, and there's plenty of softness in the carcass because it moves, which means as you get on the gas, the soft carcass stays down and imprints into the ground, which then gives you a rebound to slow indicator. So, best part is, sandy beach coming through, even stress on the tire throughout throttle application all the way up to full. Tire showing rebound a little too slow, which on a full day is good because it keeps heat in the tire and sustains it. But best of all, we found a setting with the OverSuspension where it isn't stressing that joint out and just tearing the cold part up and separating the soft compound away from the hard. So overall, for today, with the pressure, with the lap time, with the track surface and the track temperature, we got a total win-win with the device.
Nice.
From the tire point of view, because the tire can't lie, the rider perspective is always the rider perspective.
Okay.
So we always work between what the tire wants and what the rider feels is best for them.
Now, a minute ago you talked about when we had it first, when we had that line that was so distinct, that was up full plus almost. That was one rotation from plus, and we had that huge line. And you said that's because the device is working, because it's creating too much, right?
It's adding so much stress to the tire that it's making the soft compound distort because it's softer, and in making it softer, it's tearing it away from the joint.
Okay.
Also, it's putting so much load on the softer compound that it was causing a cold tear effect.
Which mainly, in short, means the device is working.
Oh yeah.
It's working correctly.
It worked from making the tire be all the suspension to all the way off, not having any net effect at all. So now that we found the middle ground, and yours will be different. Trust me, there's not one setting for everybody, because not every track is the same aggregate, nor a temperatures, nor a pace, weight, and skill. So at that point, start at 1 from maximum, 1 from minimum, and then dial into that window in 1-turn increments. Get the sandy beach, and then when the sandy beach starts getting further across into the tire, then you know you're getting to the right setting.
Now, and again, we have worked together for a long time on this bike. So we've dialed in suspension, we've dialed in tire pressure. This is a perfect scenario setup. But it's such a perfect scenario that we could clearly identify that the device is working and it's working correctly. We could see that it's making the tire either work too hard and the suspension not enough,
yep,
or the complete opposite, where the suspension was working too much and the tire wasn't working enough.
Right.
To the happy medium of where we are right now. 6 laps just now, felt the best all day. Very little wiggle, very little, I mean, it just felt perfect.
And the part there to remember is short term, the bike has been set up and was set up again today to be right before we did this test. Don't just throw a device on with a stock setting,
right,
because to be fair to the device or the implement or whatever you're trying to test in terms of a product, your bike setup has to be right first. Don't get me pointing a finger at you because you strapped it on without getting your bike set up correctly first, because that's not fair under any way, shape or form.
Not at all.
For a comparison.
Now that we know the device, now you know the device, it's a good plug for the Dave Moss website, because they can contact you and do a satellite tuning with you, right?
Yep, via video,
where Dave can help you personally, US worldwide.
Worldwide.
Worldwide, on track, on street, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
I tell you guys here, the California guys, if you guys haven't been on Dave Moss's website and looked at his schedule, you have to look at his schedule. You're in SoCal 50% of the year, almost.
Almost.
So find an event that works for you guys, get your suspension set up. If you guys are interested in the OverSuspension and you guys are in California, get it tested with Dave Moss. Racers should be using
Across the board.
So
absolutely, the device is doing something, but like any device or product, it's got to be dialed in.
So thank you guys for sticking around. I hope this answered all the questions. Hopefully, if you guys gotten this far, hopefully we find the camera. I know we had it on for at least 3 sessions. That was Bogna's camera, so it looks like, and it was brand new, so.
We'll find it.
We'll find it. But thank you guys for sticking around for another video. Make sure you guys do the normal, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, ring the bell notification. The bell notification is gonna give you future notification of future content here on the channel. And look, the link to Dave Moss's website is down below. There is no excuse. You guys have to head over there. And if you guys are interested in the OverSuspension and a satellite setup, hit up Dave Moss. He knows what to do. And see you guys next video. Bye, guys.